Mode 2, and we have the big battles. So straight away they pull finding the team. And me and Lewis just got so lucky that we were in the Nemesis queue, but it was tense. Like, again, it's a silly game. It's a stupid game. We shouldn't care.
And to be fair, we don't know that they've pulled that task. The only reason I knew is because I had my phone out and I was looking at, I think, the score, maybe, at the same time. Yeah. So it wasn't like we got information that they were going to get that task to come and try and take a photo of us. I just saw what task had been pulled last by that team, and it was take a photo, and I was like, Stu, they're coming to take a photo. And if I hadn't have seen that, I think it'd have been a different story. They would have easily taken a photo of us in the queue, like, because we wouldn't have been able to leave. And it's quite easy down the bottom. Like, if you're sitting down the bottom where Nemesis is, in the queue line, it's all around. But obviously, you'd have easily seen us coming walking around the queue line. It was just so happens.
Me and Jake argue because Stu just said we were sitting ducks, but then it actually flipped because they were then far away in a queue line that our eyes probably couldn't see. No. Our eyes would never have seen them. They were in a perfect position to literally film one spot where we had to come out of that one spot. So we had no chance at that. So then we became sitting ducks.
Yeah. So literally, as soon as Lewis saw it, the percentages of it literally just flipped and said, we are, like you say, we can just snipe now, and that's the only way we can do it. But the tension was, like, again, from a video perspective, like, again, it's so stupid. Although, and what's great, what I love about that footage is it's a great zoomed in shot, and on the left hand side I'm just filming. That's all I'm doing, is I'm looking at this very precise area, and then you just see Nemesis come down, it's doing its corkscrew, and everywhere else is having a lovely day. And obviously people are telling people to go past us in the queue, because obviously it was kind of semi in the way. Oh, that's another thing as well. We try and design everything, even if we have to run somewhere, not to be in people's way. We don't really design anything which involves anyone else, in a sense of, it's not like a prank show or anything like that, but we don't, for us, the most risky ones, not risky, but like, where's Wally? Because we'd have to sort of film that, and that's uncomfortable. Like, so hence why they're blurred out in the end video. And I'd probably steer away from that again in the future, because I didn't really like that. And also the chat with the staff member, which isn't too bad, because the staff member's normally alright. And again, if anyone ever said, please don't, like, we wouldn't film them, obviously. But even with the staff member, like, we will never go in and just stick it into a staff member's face. The idea is we'll film the floor. You can hear the conversation, and it's very not intrusive then. And if anyone does accidentally come and film like that, we normally blur them. When I'm getting really frustrated during the business card one of, where's the hand stamp? And you can tell, like, I'm hilariously angry that it's taking 3 milliseconds for this guy to get a hand stamp. Bear in mind, at this point with the hand stamp, it is 20 past 10. No one is leaving the park at this point. So the fact the hand stamp isn't immediately available isn't crazy. We're crazy.
Yeah,
it's completely acceptable.
The point is, we're never trying to make anyone else look like idiots. We're the ones looking like
we're
idiots.
The idiots.
Like we're the ones. It's never an intention to make anyone else look like they're.
But I got so angry at the fact it was taking 7 seconds to go and find it. So that bit where we're trying to get out, it's meant to be funny because of how angry I'm getting, not because of how slow they're being. Because they're not being slow. They're just like, this idiot wants a hand stamp, and he's going to just come in. Why?
No, it got a massive queue of people trying to enter the park, and you're one person trying to leave. You really think they've got the time to let you out? Yeah.
So we get the points from the photo. We do actually manage to photo them. And then what else happens? So you have a bit of a gap then, and then what else happens after that? I've got here, the next thing is hide the card, pretty much. Now the hide the card.
That was my biggest annoyance of the whole game.
Oh, with the GPS?
That infuriated me.
But with that, if the GPS had been faultless, I do agree. So we do mention it a little bit in the thing, but it's very hard to explain in the video. But as Jake opened his phone to take the picture, there was a it did update and it did show him there. But then, because he closed his phone again, it wasn't tracking him very well going then to the gardens, which is where they wanted us to think they were going. But that moment of Wickerman, when we're near Wickerman, and I say, "Great point, Lewis," or something like this, check it. Look at it now. Because we didn't think to watch them. It was only when you said it, I was like, "Oh, that's a great point." Just because you said something like, "Well, we're going to be watching them." We're like, "Yeah, we should be watching them. We're not watching them. Open the Apple."
I think this is what we would do, wouldn't we? Like, if it was us, we would
of course,
hidden the card and then moved on to somewhere else in the park to make it look like if you were tracking us, we'd hidden it there. So that's why I think we kind of both had the same idea.
But I think if you think about it from our perspective, if the GPS had have continued to move, that could have been a number of places, but the GPS stopped right there and stuck exactly where we'd left the card.
For us, it was a little bit different for you, but for us, it was in the lake, not by the bush. It was by the bush, but it wasn't like on the path. Our GPS was, your GPS was like in, because I said it to Jake, I was like, well actually no, your GPS said you were in the lake, and that's why I said to Stuart, I hope they're not going to that length of hiding it in the water. Because we were like, well, but it still gave us an idea if he was around that area, and the only nearest area to that was that path, so we didn't have an idea of exactly where it was in that path. Otherwise it took us so long walking up and down to try and find it.
Because we'd walked all around the gardens. We'd done like a walk around the gardens, and it just so happened the GPS stopped pretty much where it was. We were gutted, because I think that did help you.
The only upside to that is we would have always traced. We knew exactly. We started watching you as you were even approaching, like near the little castle area, and then you start to walk up, and you do a left along where it was. We watched you walk up that way. So regardless of what we needed to do, there is a chance we could have decided not to do this, but the plan was always to let's just go along their track. Because if we do see a photo, and as soon as we got to those bushes, I saw the conduit. It said funny because Nikki on the other side of that, is Stuart going to realise that that's like a water pipe? Yeah, and I was like, it's just funny because these things happen. Now, one of the things we do is, one thing I said in the meetings was always comment on what you think the other team is doing.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, I don't mean like just say 8 different things. I'll use the one that fits in. It has to be genuine, or it won't make it's rubbish. Sometimes we say, what we think the other team's going to do this, and they do the polar opposite.
Yeah.
But you see that less in the videos because that's not as funny as us going. So I think once I said, they're taking a long time, Slinky. They're taking a long time doing that Slinky. What are they doing? And I just cut to Jake, who is upside down, trying to do the Slinky from in between his legs, which again is ludicrous. So those cuts work quite well. But us talking about what the other team are doing, and Jake does this in episode 1 when he's trying to do the coin. It's easy, and he tries it.
But does he do it on like cobblestones or something?
Yes, yeah. He tries it on paper. That doesn't work. Then he opens the notepad and then tries it again. He's like, that's obviously still not going to work. But what was good about that when you hexed? So it was. This is when we started really taking the hexes seriously and more gameplay stuff seriously. Was you nailed that hex? That was the perfect thing to do. If it was the car one, you'd have got it.
Just going back, I just wanted to comment on what you said earlier, and you said earlier you would have looked there anyway, but I would like to say I think you'd have moved on from there, because you were looking there for ages, and that was mine and Jake's point. We were like, we'd hid it quite well along that bush,
but I think
in reality you would have looked and gone, I don't think it's here. And I think because when you go into the gardens, there is a spot that looks exactly the same as that.
I agree
and I think you'd have gone and done that.
Also, what happened is we'd have seen that bush was the right bush, and we'd have seen that conduit was there, and it was the right kind of dirt or whatever. But what I think would have happened in that situation is Stuart would have said, you stay here, I'll carry on looking up by the...
But you can't split up, so...
True, but we couldn't split up. This is another question actually as well, which comes up like, well, can one person do this and one person do this? Unless the task says you can, you can't. So monorail, obviously we can split up. Lap the lake, you can split up. The idea being that when we split up, the other person can, well, not for the monorail, but the other person can film stuff.
Yeah.
Also, Lap the Lake isn't massively entertaining, so then we can cut to shots of their teammate going, I wish they'd hurry up type thing. So those are all the elements, but overall, because we are being tracked, they have to kind of stick together. It's a fair point. I might have felt me more maybe than Lewis. I might have felt the need to. Well, we've got a bigger area to search. We have to move on. That's a very fair.
Because if you look at the, I don't know how much. I can't remember how much was shown in the actual video. But you were looking for a long time. I think at one point you can see me and Jake couldn't find the card,
no,
and you got. I think you would have probably moved on. But
I think we probably would have. Yeah.
But I also think, and going on to what you were going to say with the hex, just before you were hexed, or just after you were hexed. Jake gave away that it was there. Jake lost that for us big time because he gave it away. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, but then we only had even with that, we only had 4 minutes and like 3 minutes actually by the time he ran down there. Say he ran. I should have spent up the footage of me running, to be fair. But yeah, but again, it's incredible that we care.
Oh, we care so much. Me and Jake cared so much on that one because we completely miscalculated the timings. We were like, oh, by the time they've gone there, done that, they physically won't have time to look. And then as you were walking away, me and Jake, I was like, Jake, why did you do that? They've got time.
It took us all a while to work it out, and I think it all kind of dawned us at the same time. I was like, hang on, we could do this timeout and still have 5 minutes left to find the card.
Yeah,
we need to get a move on.
Me.
Yeah.
When you hexed us and said we had to go,
we all thought it was over for that task.
You've literally won it. But then you literally see it on camera when we're just strolling, and then Lewis said something like, so we'll have 4 minutes left when it's expired. Well, roughly, because we worked out, we didn't know how long it was going to take us to run up, get the stamp. And then, I was like, and I literally go, oh yeah, and I start running.
We did this because I was working it out
There's a chance we
Jake.
could do this.
Jake, you've already given away that it's there, which I don't think would have made too much difference. I think you probably would have come back and you didn't have time to go anywhere else, so I think you would have stuck there. But I was like, Jake, you've given it away. But it's one of those.
So you had a brutal timeout period, which you were angry with Mark about. Not me, I didn't design that. That was Mark. Because we got the points, we got the tickets for that, and you also had the timeout.
Yes.
But what was funny about that is that's when you really start to get stroppy now. I don't want to talk to them. I don't even want to see them. Where are they? I don't want to see them. I want to talk to them.
Because it gets really annoying because I think, like you say, I often say, and I'm really glad, I think we said this when we were doing the live thing the other day, we are glad that people picked up the game because there's certain parts where if you didn't understand the game, it looks like they're really far ahead of us or vice versa, but the flip can happen so quickly because if you steal points from them and have it added onto yours, it can change everything. So a lot of the time it was really close, and that's when you feel like you're getting closer, and then that was the point where me and Jake were like, we've got no chance, we're so far behind. And you know how it feels when you play a game and you kind of feel like you can't win anymore. It does stop slightly being fun, and that did happen with us at that point, I think. But one of those things.
I am sure that there are lots of ways the game could break. Because quite a few people have said, I've not done the math on it, but quite a few people have said, why don't I just keep on stealing the other team's stars and only go after that strategy, which is fine as long as you're also earning enough tickets. And that's why there has to be randomness, as in like you don't choose the task, it has to be a random task that you're stuck with. If there's a selection of tasks and you're allowed to draw like a selection of 5, let's say, you would just keep on redrawing those ones and doing your best, and that's also too many tasks. The other thing with tasks is we are limited to what we can do inside a theme park, we are limited to what we can bring inside of a theme park. So that adds different controls that we have to kind of work within. And Ontaz is really good for that, really, because Ontaz has a huge gardens, which means we can make it look quite visually nice and keep moving. There's no actual rule to say that we have to keep moving to new places, but I think just for the sake of a decent video, that's something we should have to do in the future. It has to be within, I don't know, a 5-minute walk away or whatever. We can work out what it will be. Top marks is weird. I don't want to say too much, but it was a badly written question, but I hadn't seen the question until there, and I am blaming Mark for that one. Sorry, Mark. Because we didn't know if there's one, it can only be one word. There's loads of questions about what we couldn't do. But again, you don't see this on camera, but we sent them all to Mark. We locked them in, and we kind of committed either way whether Mark would accept them or not. But Mark said he would have accepted all of them. So that was that really. It was a non-event really, but because articulated lorry is 2 words, but it's meant to be 1 word. So there's lots of stuff with that, but it just wasn't. The task was quite hard to make look entertaining in a way because it was just us at another park bench, as I said.
I think maybe if we did something like that again, it would just need to be refined to a singular word, like one word.
There's that, or like I say, there's tasks like that which you can do against the other team, so you can make it more entertaining that way. So because the ones that worked really well was only happened in episode 2 pretty much, and that was when we were interacting a lot with the other team. I've put my notes over here. Seeing Nikki angry and stroppy is funny, in brackets, even if it's just for me.
It doesn't happen very often, that's why. It's
Nikki's so happy all the time. She's so positive.
That's what worries
Paris
me.
Have a good day.
That's what worries me, because my mum watched this and she's like, it's bringing out all the bad points of you. And that is literally like, people watching this and you've not seen like the next outing or anything, they're going to think, all right, misery. I'm not always like that. I was just got a bit competitive.
I'm the misery normally, and you can tell when I'm the misery because later on when we're not winning, I change. That. I literally changed. I was getting angry at Lewis all the time. So yeah, Slinky. The Slinky is what it is. If me and Lewis were doing the Slinky, I imagine would have been just as equally as rubbish.
I think we would have been equally as rubbish. I don't think I'd have picked uneven cobbled steps.
They're all uneven cobbled steps.
They're all over the place.
They all are, yeah. They all are.
But it doesn't have to be in the gardens.
But where else would you go? Because we had this conversation. I don't know if it was in the video.
Isn't there?
We didn't want to be in people's way.
True, but isn't there steps outside the teachers' lounge on the Tower Street? Isn't there? No one ever goes up there because it's the teachers. But that's just my opinion. That's where I would have gone because I know.
And it's also we knew we'd be there for a while, wanted to be out of the way, and not everyone kind of. But that was the only time, because me and Jake get on very well, that was the only time where Jake got genuinely annoyed with me. The amount of times he said, Nikki, stop suggesting the same thing to me, it's not working. And he just genuinely getting angry with me, like, just stop saying the same thing.
I didn't have footage of that, I also had to include it. To be fair, in fact, what I'm not mentioning, I think we're into episode 3 now. Episode 3, I kind of did the final edit and then the pacing edit to really speed things up. But that was actually edited by someone I used to work with called Luke, who basically just did the bulk of the edit for episode 3, which really sped up making it because it's a lot of footage. I think the other guys are going to underestimate it. I was like, film everything, film as much as you can. I will deal with it later. As long as there's not enough space on your phones.
And then you just made Luke deal with it later.
Yeah. Well, no, I dealt with 3
Luke
episodes.
will deal with it later.
But yeah, Luke looked after episode 3 for me, which was a huge help. And he just sort of understood the style and the comedy of what we were trying to go for and stuff, which is really good. Harry throw? Lewis?
Well, look. Right, you had 2 options. I threw or I caught. I have never been able to throw sweets in the air and catch them in my mouth. I can't do it. I don't know why.
I know.
I see some.
Here's the proof of. Here's the clip and proof of that.
Ow!
I think I filmed it a few times actually, but I don't know. I think it's just like I flinch out of the way as soon as I do it. So it's like I ain't gonna be able to catch it because you're gonna waste. I do. It's just like you kind of. Even though I've thrown it, I know it's gonna hit me. And it's probably gonna go in my eye. So I'm just gonna move out the way. So I thought if I'm going to be able to throw it better, I don't know. I've never thrown a Haribo into someone's mouth. I didn't know what trajectory to throw that thing at.
What is quite funny is we have this thing. It's on the next hour as well. Actually, quite a lot that I hate. I just really like eggs are weird, right?
Yeah.
If you think about what an egg is, it's all weird, right? But I have this thing like sometimes I like an egg, sometimes I don't like an egg. But I hate McDonald's egg. So the whole thing about the egg is that we always joke about it. And McDonald's have this problem where they even if you ask for something with no egg, the amount of times I've been served with something, if you're allergic to eggs, it's a genuine problem, I think. I've been served so many times, and because the eggs are so heavy at McDonald's, how much they weigh. You pick up the bag, you're like, what is on this? Like 8 eggs. So it's happened several times around the world. Obviously, we travel everywhere, and McDonald's is just part of if you're in the car for a long time. So I hate. And then the one thing we try it with the egg, and it works.
Well, I think the original question was, the egg. Do you want me to throw an egg? And you said originally, no, don't throw an egg, kind of thing. I don't like the eggs.
I thought it'd be rubbish. I thought it'd be
probably
too
as a
light,
joke, kind of like I
not...
don't like the eggs. Don't throw the eggs. And that's why I was like, let's just try the egg. And on the practice, I think we got it right. And I was like, it's going to be the eggs. And then we did another real one. I think we didn't get that in. And then the second egg was the one that got in, I think.
Okay, so final few tasks. We had the hexes first of all, which were they were powerful because people say they're too powerful. Well, if you actually look closely, when we get the name hex, you can't say ride names. Two things: one, they can say the word hex because otherwise it's almost impossible, and two, they can say battle galleons. So people have asked about that. Again, in the sub rules.
Did we say battle galleons?
I think Jake said battle galleons. We have to go and ride battle galleons now, yeah, something like that. So they can say that, that's fine. But there's a clip of Lewis going, well, that's not that good. It doesn't even make him go anywhere. And the irony of, I think it's in episode 3 when it actually gets applied. And then that was actually the game changer towards the end. But the thing is with the hex, like, that's the thing. Like, yes, they are relatively cheap, but some are rubbish. Well, not rubbish, but like, not as good. Like, we got one very early on, which was you can only do walk in even minutes or odd minutes. Fine, it's annoying, but not, I'd say that's one of the weaker ones.
It was funny when we got an odd minute and we were behind like some couple taking an Instagram photo.
Yeah, it's in their way.
We were stuck there for a minute, like, we'll move in a second, I promise. Yeah, that was weird.
So they are, I feel on the whole, like, they were okay balanced. Obviously, you had to go back to the car. We end up getting the stargazing. It's sort of balanced.
I think from my point of view, maybe the only thing I would suggest is maybe more of them, but I don't know how you do that in terms of getting them all on the screen, because the idea is that you can see how many counting down, but towards the end, we were all just racing to get, like, the stargazing one. We all just kind of wanted that one because we knew that would be, so we were just spending the money, dishing out the cash to try and get that one. Whereas if you had more of a kind of, like, more of them, you would be like, well, I don't know how actually you're going to get that one, so I'm not going to pin my hopes on them getting stargazing, because there might be more chance of me getting something rubbish to give to them.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think when we designed the game, we didn't really realise that we would use them all.
No.
To be honest, I didn't think we'd ever be in that situation.
Well, you wanted to use all 6 of them in like 10 minutes of the game starting, you did.
I mean, I think you were being nice to Nikki, and that is something for Series 2, we gotta cut all that out.
See, that's a conversation me and Lewis have had since, and Lewis, I don't believe that for a second, because that's not Lewis's character. But
his words, I feel harsh, you can tell him. And I was like, yeah, I can tell him.
But I also think, when me and Lewis have spoken about it since, I think that's when Lewis was kind of losing sight of the game slightly and was thinking more of the content.
Yeah.
And Lewis was like, I'm a bit worried that it's just going to batter him at the end. And because even though we don't want to try and like make it like happen that way, you do want a close finish. And I did think that kind of took that away slightly. I think Lewis was conscious of that more than anything else.
Yeah, my
you do, but then...
Yeah, my consciousness was coming from the fact that if you had that many hexes on you in like one go, that you would kind of not give up on the game, but you'd kind of like, well, there's no point me carrying on for the next 2 hours now, because I'm going to be locked out for an hour and I'm not going to be able to do anything in that last hour to get any progress done. That was my only kind of resistance to putting them all down.
It is a balancing act as well between that and we still got to take the game seriously. So you got to remember, so every viewer will get something different, I think, out of it. Some people are hardcore. They will literally look at the strategy and go, no, you should have done X, Y, and Z. Now, there's a few things with that. One, we're trying to play it on our phones. We don't have, the foresight or the advantage of seeing it as a whole game type thing. But people do want us to play hard and serious in what we do, but also we will make mistakes. We do daft stuff, make daft decisions, and also it's our first time playing it. So
yeah, absolutely.
We do stuff like going all the way back to that first painting task where you took so long to do it.
In hindsight, we never would have done. We've got it done, scribbled down a quick thing, and moved on.
That wasn't the
engine just started.
No, that's what we should have done.
There was effort put into that picture.
Yeah, Jake loved that.
Someone put that photo of that picture up somewhere like here, just to show the effort that we put into it.
This is all the effort which was used in that picture.
But I do think like there's a bit where me and Jake are running off to the golf task, and I say to Jake, we shouldn't have spent too much time on that. And Jake was like, what? You can't rush hard. And that's how he felt about it.
I mean, that's a great line. That's probably one of my favourite lines. And actually, every time I've watched it through with people to see what their reactions would be, it has never really got like a huge laugh. I know Jake, so his personality, like that is a sort of funny quip he would come out with, and it was so fast, and I found it when I watched that clip back for the first time. Yeah, when I watched that back for the first time, I was howling, laughing, and that's just a great line. Like, 'cause he's in a rush to go up some steps. So you can't rush art, and it's a great line.
There's bits similar to that, which I think obviously bits were cut out because obviously you can't include it all. But even trying to find the right scenery was so important to Jake. Like, there's a bit, and it would have been my favourite bit, but it didn't make the edit. And when he's looking around, and he proper looks, and he's like, can the bins be classed as a feature of it? And he's so deadly serious of like, can I incorporate the bin? That's what he says. Can I incorporate the bin into it? I'm like, yes, Jake, of course you can.
Didn't he say something like, can we get the bin involved?
Yeah, something like that. Can we get the bin involved?
If we move it even like more like here, you've got this tree trunk as well. So you've got like one.
Can we get the bin involved?
That's too far back then.
Can we get the bin involved? I'm like, yes, Jake. He took it so seriously. Again, that was quite early on where we were trying to get a feel for how much we could push it.
Wicker Man memory, that was great. The reason why I didn't do it, or even like there's no discussion about me doing it, is because I had to go through the video and actually type it up, literally line. But I watched someone's video and typed it, and it just felt like, well, I've seen it a little bit, so is that an advantage? I just wanted to avoid that whole argument. So Lewis sort of had to do that one if we got it. Also, there's a great shot in that. Obviously, the camera's just locked off, and I think that's when some of the most funny things happen, because that's the joy of the microphones, is we can stand further back and get nicer shots of stuff. And the whole chips and cheese thing with you and Jake as well, so funny with you discussing how you're eating this chips and cheese. Because the camera's just on and it's just rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a moment when Lewis gets to like, it's the 30th time he's tried to it. He knows he doesn't know it, and he starts to laugh, but I'm looking down at the paper, I haven't realised yet that he doesn't know it, but he's starting to laugh, and then he gets it wrong, and obviously I just get so angry with him.
What an honour to see yourself bound in wicker, encased in his soul. Do you see yourself in him? It is time. I can't think of it.
It's infuriating if you watch someone get something wrong over and over again.
Yeah.
Even though you're not doing it. You're exactly right. Like, it's easy for me.
Yeah, it's like, you got it wrong.
Say
like,
this. Yeah, and then we come to the obviously Alton Towers of Cards, because we need some more tickets, because we want to try and go for that final hex. That final hex did become, like I say, a bit of a. If we get that, we for us, we can win the game. For them, we can get rid of them, and it's in our own hands. That's kind of what it came down to. It was quite nice, or if not, albeit a fluke, that it was still possible to change hands. It was quite unlikely towards the end, but not impossible, because the queues were weirdly short because of the Euro game. Like, Galactica was like almost walk on by the end of the day. But they already had Galactica. So yeah, Rita was down due to the weather, which meant there was only one way that they could actually get to victory, which was the Smiler route. It's the only thing they could have done. They couldn't have done anything else to swing it at that late stage. After they said the ride name, they had to be X'd out for a bit.
I think if we hadn't have done that, I think we'd have won. I think we could have done it. I said that to Jake, like, if we hadn't been hexed out for that half an hour, I think we could have maybe swung it, because we just needed that one big one to switch it, and we'd have won.
It was worth 60 tickets, so you could have easily got a 50 ticket ride.
Yeah.
With that, the only task that was removed that was played, I say played.
Oh yeah.
Was in that moment, which made things even tighter for you. Obviously, you got released at 6:30. I think it was a 7 p.m. close, or 5:30, 6 p.m. close. And you pulled a quiz one. Now, Mark designed this quiz. Ryan, which is why Ryan gets a little credit, recorded them, but you couldn't hear them on the video. And the idea was to play Ryan asking you the questions, but you couldn't hear that. So you just went to the text. So the backup for that is a text version. The questions were solid. They had no timeout period to them, because if you had, had a timeout period, that would have been game over.
I've not seen the
completely.
questions actually. I don't even know what
They
the
were
questions
solid. They were literally.
They were solid.
They were the hardest questions I've ever seen. I was like,
was it like multiple choice and stuff?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
I think I've got it in the I've got the game document open. Trivia questions and top marks. In the early 18th century, Edward Teach was committing acts of piracy under the infamous Monkia? Is that a word? Not great at my words. Monkia. Blackbeard. But what was his name? What was the name of his ship? Mary Celeste, Neptune, Queen Anne's Revenge, or the Golden Hind? Hind.
Is it Mary Celeste?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Is the answer there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll answer one. No, C. So we'd not got that either. And they were equally as solid for the question.
They were so hard, yeah.
So what happened was they failed all of the questions quickly because there's no lockout, and then they pulled the next task. And it added nothing to the video. And it didn't matter. It took them all of 60 seconds. So actually, I just thought, just pull this out. Because also, it's meant to be really tense at the end. It just really slowed everything down. Didn't have an effect on the game. But that's the only task we actually pulled out. Every other task was shown. It was played as it was. Yeah, so the only weird thing about the ending and the anticlimax is that for some crazy reason, Nikki and Jake Jake asked if it's one every 30 seconds, how many is it in a minute?
I laughed at that the other day.
Great line.
If it's one every 30 seconds, how many is it in a minute?
Yeah, that's a great line. And that I think, he wasn't saying it to be funny. I think that kind of shows like the sort of weird panic we get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the weird seriousness of like, no, we could win. And what is it? And the fact that's happening to us is really good because it means we are engrossed in the game, which is what we want. So anyone who is a ride geek, 30-second dispatches on Oblivion would be impressive. I think. Well, so if they're doing 2 stages, I suppose it'd be 2 a minute. Which, if you got the staff for, that's not insane. I don't think. Back in the day, I think they would have churned them out that fast. But these days, probably not. And also, they had to. So they were there like I think 25 minutes to the hour. And on this day, you had to be on the car because the idea is had this idea that if you were queuing up for a ride to steal last minute, you could be filming and clock watching, and we could have a clock on screen, and you'd literally put, as long as the air gates opened, I think you could then, obviously we can't record past that, then we could then finish on some clips of a roller coaster going around with you on it, or just to kind of illustrate that you'd ridden something, and that'd be a great thing to do. That said, it would have been very unlikely, I think, that you would have got it.
Yeah, 100%.
With the queue. I think the queue wasn't massive. Like I said, the queues weren't huge. It was possible, and it was the only route that you could get to sort of get there. But yeah, the other thing was that me and Lewis had to go to Stargaze, and Lewis, by this point, after being very hungover from the Friday night,
I was hungover, wasn't I? I don't know why.
You were hungover for day 2.
I was hungover.
That's how seriously he was taking the game, folks.
I was still.
He was
still on time though. He was still on time though.
Yeah, I didn't sleep in, did I?
All right. Calm down. So I was like, is it worth us keeping going? And Lewis was dead against that because it meant running to Stargate, pretty much. And by this point, we were pretty hungry. We hadn't really eaten on day because we hadn't got any lockouts. I don't think for day 2, so we hadn't had half an hour. We could just go and get food. Other than, do we have the chips and cheese on day 2? Yeah, we had the chips and cheese, but we only ate I ate most of that chips and cheese. Yeah. Those only had a few of them. So we were a bit, but I was like, no, we should because then if there's anything that needs tickets, or there was a reason why we should go into. We kick out. That was it, kick out. We could have bought, if they joined the queue, we could have kicked them out so they couldn't get on the ride, and that was genuine. That we could have genuinely done that with the amount of tickets we had. And obviously we had the Find the Duck task, which was the weird thing about the Find the Duck task is I designed those really early starting graphics with race the monorail. And underneath it says, or find a duck. And the reason why I picked that was, it's easy to understand. It's really not complex. It's not long description. It's like, find a duck. It's so simple. And it just so happened that the first task we got, I knew that was going to be the monorail, but we hadn't filmed day 2 yet. And it's just funny how the final task that we got was the find the duck task at the end of it. So we go all the way to Stargazing, which is a long way. For people who haven't been to Alton Towers, it's a long way.
Yeah, it's very long.
And it's literally, at this point, and this is the awkward bit, this is decision making for like show, the video over the gameplay. We knew by this point they'd failed, I think, by the time we took a picture of the duck. But we had to run back to the Galactica entrance, and I mean peg it.
Yeah.
And Lewis was dead against doing any of this. But we had to do that because I wanted that final shot to be back where we were. Again, it made no sense to the staff working there, like, why are you coming back in? We're closing in literally like 60 seconds. So I think we just lied and said we want to go to the gift shop or something like that, so it didn't look too crazy.
Didn't I say I was going to pick someone up or something? I can't remember what we said actually, but because they were like, why are you coming back in? The park is closing in like 4 minutes. I need to meet someone.
I mean, I think 4 minutes is even quite generous to us. But yes, then we ran down to the front and did the finishing thing where we revealed and stuff, which is quite nice. Again, for the video and the series kind of coming full circle to it. So that's it, sort of, for us kind of explaining or kind of coming up with defences for what we did. So after we finished filming each day, we went to the hotel, had a swift half of Pepsi or Coca-Cola, whatever they serve, with our million annual pass discount, which I think I paid for, didn't I? I even paid for them, didn't I, for everyone? I think I did.
I know you brought us one on the morning you were late because it was a really beautiful day, and you were go and get yourself a drink and sit on the lawn. We're like, okay.
I paid for extra drinks. We went to the hotel and I downloaded everyone's clips because trying to send clips online, there's always awkwardness or people forget or if someone's phone just deleted stuff, that'd be a nightmare. Didn't mind all the effort. So we literally take the laptop in the car and then download all the clips. I've always said about all the editing was done by episodes 1, 2, and 3. I did all the editing for 1, 2, and 4. Luke did I'm going to say massive chunk. He literally put each day's timelines like together, did all that. I sort of did just like the polishing of episode 4. Episode 3, sorry, where Luke did the bulk of the work. It's really important because like editing's difficult and it's quite
time consuming
skill.
It's
really time consuming, and obviously he did it all for free. And he could say no, and then I'd have to just do episode 3 as well. But he wanted to help, and that means a lot that he did that. And all the graphics is something that I've just done for years. It's all self-taught. Like I did go to uni to do a media course. It was biggest waste of money. No, it wasn't. I enjoyed being at uni.
I was going to say, you wouldn't have been able to do any of that without it, really.
Oh, no, 100% you can. Like, 100%. I learned very little I'd say I've learned very little on the media course. And also, anything post-production that you learn will be out of date. And there's people on top of it for like 2-3 years. The only module that I didn't do in years 2 and 3, I think, was post-production, because the post-production we were learning was so bad at university that I was like, I'll do the other stuff that I'm not very good at, all the camera stuff, TV production stuff, but the actual post-production I didn't do any more in university because it was a waste of money. I wasn't learning anything. I was sat in the class and I'd do something just out of boredom because I'd do whatever they wanted to do in a few minutes, because that's what you're interested in. When you're interested in something like that, I go home and start doing more stuff, and that was just my sort of thing. So all the graphics, I do struggle sometimes with the creativity of like, what can the graphics do to make this more entertaining? So the airplane flying over, as cheesy as it is, but I wanted the proof of having the full 44 seconds of that task. I mean, 44 seconds on YouTube is a lifetime to not have a cut. So just to try and do anything to kind of interrupt that. Also, like the pacing on YouTube. So a good example of this is we edited this version that went up on the Theme Park Dash's own channel. We edited that so it was 30 seconds faster. So rather than at the start of the next outings version, it said, "Hello, I'm Stuart and Lewis," and it would give us a little logo, a little whoosh of our names. And they did the same with Nikki and Jake. All that's gone. It now says, "Welcome to Theme Park Dash. We're at Alton Towers." Blah blah blah. Bam! Here's the rules, and here's some pretty graphics to get you into the game. the problem is, I have no idea if that was a big turning point with how people carried on to watch it or anything like that. But it's just the pacing on YouTube. Luke was annoyed at episode 3. He's like, "Oh, you cut out so much of it." It's like, yeah, because it's like an hour and 10 minutes long, and it needs to be shorter because it'll just die on YouTube if it's too long. The special effect in the very first shot was so intentional, and it's 3D. And we don't really use much 3D after that. But I wanted people to see that first shot and go, "Oh, it's not a vlog," because it looks like a vlog when we're starting. And if you look closely, the big sign comes behind my head, which is getting a lot easier these days to do. Trying to do that back at uni would have taken years to do. However, there is a shadow that comes behind us, and I talk about this shadow
He doesn't
a lot.
shut up about this shadow.
Because it's just an extra bit. It sells that the sign is real. Well, obviously it's not real, but I spent a long time on that shadow. I don't appreciate the shadow.
Give the shadow some love.
Yeah. Try not to explain too many rules at once, splitting it up. So we don't explain the gift shop till like 40 minutes later because it's not relevant. No one cares. I don't want to overload the viewer with that. The maps are pretty handy because the maps aren't too crucial. The GPS is never too crucial. But it's quite good at showing stuff like how far away the stargazing pod is from the park. That's pretty handy. For people who don't know, if you know the park, you sort of know where we are anyway, if you're watching it. But it's also quite good for a transition, particularly if I have to go from me to me. So like from yellow team to yellow team, I can use a map to get us there without going, bam, and we're now here. So yeah, we've got nothing. That was used mostly, I think, in the earlier episodes when both teams were timed out. So we weren't, I think by the time, we were doing a certain task and I used the map as a transition. It's because those two are in the hotel having a panini in the half an hour lockout period. Or whatever years you went in. So a lot of the jet lag comparisons are with the editing style, I think, and I think that's sort of fair. But the way of cutting has been done way before jet lag of, I wonder what the other team are doing. Surely they're not doing this. Bam, cut to them, then doing this. I mean, that's something like any sort of show like this would. Taskmaster is the king of that.
Yeah.
You see that in every single episode. Well, no one's gonna blow the balloon up with their mouth. They're gonna use a fan, aren't they? Cut to someone blowing a balloon up with their mouth. Like, it's just that style of editing is just the comedic timing of that can be sometimes hard to teach. And I don't know where we're gonna find those moments. And that's the thing with doing it. Like, are we gonna get any of those moments?
Yeah.
The best one for me is the slinky one when it cuts to Jake being literally. I say they're taking far too long doing that. And Jake is upside down, trying to do it through his legs. So he's not. That's surely making it harder for himself anyway. And also, like, I think saying stuff like "I think we've got this," and meaning it. If you're saying stuff just for comedy effect,
it doesn't work as well.
People are going to know within seconds. People are going to know that feels equally awkwardly sandwiched in. It's so much funnier if it comes out naturally. I'm not an actor. Like, none of us are actors. If you wanted to actually act, it'd be hilarious. I mean, just look at Lewis read out the Wicker Man script. Very different pre-show. Very different pre-show.
I think it's an improvement, to be honest. You should replace that with my voice.
I'm going to do that with the actual footage of the. Next time we go through Wicker Man, I'll film it and then I'll. Welcome Chosen Few. It's the hand action when you do that hand action.
I needed the hand actions to remind me of the parts. So it's like, Welcome Chosen Few, we are beyond. And that's the only parts I could do by putting the hand actions in, was to remind me of the pacing of.
If there's a memory trigger, I say go for it. We filmed a lot. We actually used quite a lot of it, but I did cut a lot out. Most people are like, oh, you cut this bit out. And people between us were a bit disappointed that something wasn't in there, but again, it's just, I cannot tell you, like, it needs to keep moving fast. The graphics are quite good as well at keeping people's attention and stuff like that. But it just keeps me, like, a lot went. I didn't really save them this time, which is a bit of a shame, because I'd have a bunch of clips then we could play and go, this is all, like, the extras. So the next one I might move them just to another timeline, so I just got them safe for the future. And a lot of stuff we talk about, like, because like I said, we did kind of hint to always talk about what the other team are doing. And I'd be like, we think they would do this. But a lot of that we say, and they're not doing that. They're doing something completely different. So it's irrelevant. So like all that gets cut. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it just doesn't matter. I said about the one task that we cut out because it had no game affecting ability and stuff like that.
It was just whizzing
but
past
day 2 didn't. Yeah, day 2 didn't have any problems. Didn't have any problems with the mics. Actually, the mics worked on every clip, other than when we lost the mics. That's a problem. But the sound was always there, which is good. And that's sort of for post production. That's sort of it. That's all I sort of got. Really, it took a long time, and the music choice. I did make sure that my music, obviously, because like I said, I watched Jetlag a lot. I made sure the place where we picked our music was not the same. I think Jetlag used Epidemic Sound, which is quite common on YouTube. A lot of YouTubers use Epidemic Sound. I might be wrong on that, but I did make sure that our music was not like the same to that. But there's definitely similarities in it, and with the Jetlag question, like at first I was like, I hope people see it as our own thing, because it is our own game. I haven't just copied one of the games that they've done. And there's loads of different theme park challenges out there, a lot in the Disney parks, particularly in Florida. Taskmaster, like I said earlier. But we wanted to make our own thing of it. And the fact that Jetlag fans are coming and they're saying we still really enjoyed it is a huge compliment. Because if you said to me, there's 20 people here who all love Jetlag and they're going to watch your version of your game, I'd be like, that's terrifying.
Yeah. I feel sorry for them watching this, because the quality of that, to what we thought ours was going to be.
Exactly, and again, they have big budgets. They're a production company. They do take it seriously, and it's great. So everyone should go and watch it. But like I said, there's so many different things where I think Simon had done a theme park episode. They had to do a water park one where I just don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on half the time with it, with those sorts of videos, and that's not what I wanted to make in the theme park. Well, so the other thing we need to say, thank you very much to, if you've got this far, fair play. At the minute, the recording time of this is 2 hours. It will be trimmed down a little bit, but a huge thank you to, if you have watched. Now, less people will watch this because less people want to actually see behind the scenes, and that's fine. If you've watched, if you've commented, if you've liked, if you've subscribed, and incredibly, if you've donated, you should. So we had when that live premiere was going live, we had it on in the background and we were commenting and stuff. We had a Skype call. When that first one came in, and I think it was like for 15 quid or something, I purposely set it all up so you could donate £1. Like, I thought if a few people give us £1, that gives us, it'll buy a task. It'll buy some props for a task or something like that. And yeah, the first one came in, like, the fact that anyone will donate anything to us for Muppets.
I know, that's the most surprising. We're very, very, very thankful, but it's crazy that you even ever thought it would be worth a donation, but thank you.
Yeah, and just to hear the really nice comments. Overall, like, it's been no one watched it first time round, and we were super sad that no one watched it. The fact that people are watching it, and the views now have really slowed down because that's just how YouTube works.
Yeah. But
subscriber count is still going up, and if you're one of the, I think it's 1,611 when we're filming this. If you're one of those that have subscribed, that is a way to support it. Just like, I think the first few hundred people who watched it did everything. They commented, they subscribed, they thumbs up, like, let's just say liked. They liked. And that really started to, you could see the video was getting, snowball effect. Which, I've got a vlogging channel, I've tried to build up my audience over there for the best part of 3 and a bit years now. With these two, for the most part. And I'm on 2,600 odd subscribers on that side. And I've actually seen loads of people coming over from Theme Park Dash over to the next outing. And it's just been really overwhelming to read the nice comments and the faults with it. And any game we design, there will be faults with, because we don't have a budget to properly play. We do simulate the game a little bit. Like, me and Mark sat there and like literally on like almost like a board game, a real life board game, of like, well, if we did this, we'd probably spend about 15 minutes trying to do it, and then we like rolled a dice on whether we could pass it or fail it. And we failed that task. We got to sit there for half an hour. We're sort of a bit like in the board game Risk. These are the other pieces on the world map. It was a bit like that, which we tried, but what that's like in real life, it's one of them, isn't it? But that's it, I think that's it for our little behind. I mean, I can't believe we're doing a behind the scenes chat.
I know.
It's crazy.
And I think the reason that we did as well do the behind the scenes, just so why we kind of did this, so many people have been so constructive. So like even comments saying like, oh, this didn't quite, we are so appreciative of all of those comments because it means that we can make it better. It means that people care enough to kind of give that advice and they want more and they want it to be better. And so many people took an interest in the mechanics of it, and that is why this kind of video, we thought it's for those niche people that have been watching that kind of seem to have that interest. We thought we'd do it for those people.
So yeah, just one huge thank you basically from all of us, and it's because of that we're now looking at season 2 and what we can do. And I'm going to mention this here. We're about to film another video, which is back to back of questions and answers. We've got about 30 questions, which we'll answer. I put a post up in the community, on the community page, and there's loads of questions. So we're going to go through that. It'll be a lot shorter video, I think, than this one. But we are now planning on season 2. Now we've got a dilemma. Well, I've got a dilemma. The dilemma is we could do something at Towers again. I've got a massive database of graphics that I can use, as in like not exact same ones, like we do different tasks and different whatever, different game, but we can get a season out quicker, which might be appealing to everybody. Also, there's a lot less cost because we still haven't got any, like, the donation's been lovely, but again, it's a very small pot, so we could do that for season 2. What we are trying to do is actually plan several seasons. Whether this happens or not, if season 2 goes like a nosedive, then that'll be it. That'll be curtains. But we might try and do something a bit quicker for season 2 because we can get it out quicker. I've got a lot of the graphics. The heavy lifting's been done for that. And then we try and do something maybe a little bit bigger for season 3, and maybe beyond that. I'm saying season 3 because we've kind of said we want to film 3 this year, but whether 3 come out this year is another story. But that's sort of the kind of plan for that. But who knows? But that's what. So I just don't. What we want to avoid is we don't want people to be disappointed. Like, oh, they're on Towers again.
Yeah, that's my only concern is people might be disappointed. Just saying,
Everybody seems to want Thorpe Park, and me and Stuart have had this conversation, haven't we? I get the graphics, everything makes sense. We've got all kind of
Thorpe or Chessington, they've been saying, haven't they? Really?
I think Thorpe, but then there's the logistics of kind of having the gardens all and Towers is really helpful, and I think you're going to have to plan a whole new game.
Better than Thorpe because it's got those secluded areas for those kind of challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said at the start, this is a hobby project. Like it really is. Like, I've got a normal job. I've got a couple of businesses that I run. These guys have got normal jobs. Like, we have to fit everything in around that.
Yeah.
And because what I don't want is if we're looking at a brand new part where I literally have to start, because in a brand new part we have to pretty much start from scratch, other than the logo. That will take a long. I cannot tell you how long the graphics took to do.
You're adding months on top of what the original production
the Alton Towers, it is the compromise. It is the compromise of like, well, yeah, but we can get a second series out earlier because Alton Towers opens relatively soon. So, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's what I'm leaning towards at the moment, is the Alton Towers method. And then, but we probably would announce and we'd film them quite close together. So I'd have the footage for the 3rd season for a lot longer, and I can work on that whilst I'm also working on season 2. Can I work on them both together, if that sort of makes sense? I'm not against doing it at Thorpe. I'm not against doing it at Chessington. I'm not against doing it somewhere not in the UK. I'm not against like any of that. But it's just, otherwise people are going to be wasting a very, very long time for the next one, and that'd be sad. Particularly as we've got a little bit of momentum. Although the momentum will die down, I suppose, and hopefully it'll boost back up again with the next one. But no decisions yet, but I want to sow that seed for everybody because that's what I think the avenue is that will go down. Right. Any more for any more?
I don't think so. I think everything else we're going to be covering on the next episode, so I don't want to have too much that chat here. Wait for the next one.
Okay. Thank you. So, if you've made it this far, and if you haven't subscribed, then I mean, if you've not subscribed, this one is for the subscribers, to be fair. But if you haven't, if you've somehow gone through all this absolute bilge with us three, and not signed up to wanting more bilge, then I don't know how much more bilge we can provide and convince you to subscribe. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you can also like the video and comment, I cannot tell you just how much this does to push it to other people and tell YouTube, oh, actually, yeah, this is actually a decent enough video that it's worth sharing to other people to hopefully click on. We're going to film a Q&A now, so that'll be the next video. Yep. I don't know when this is going to come out. I don't know when this is going to come out. So, who knows? Well, than that, I shall, from me, Nick and Alice, we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.
See you
Bye.
Later. Bye-bye.
Graphics.